Thank you.
We look forward to seeing those two guys in Mount Panorama on November 14 and 15. As someone's heading into the pits, that's Dean Croswell in the Trustbank Ericsson car, young Tasmanian driver who's driving instead of Greg Crick, his regular teammate for the Enduros. So obviously he's trying to get more time in the car. He has come into the pits, not quite sure of the problem there. Jason Bargwanna in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore, getting set, getting ready to go. Suffering from a bad back this weekend. He's been seeing a chiropractor up here on the coast to try and get that fixed. Crompton rolls up to his grid. This should be a good one, 19 laps. It's around about 85 kilometres in length, set to go. The two Queenslanders off the front row, Larkham and Bright. Let's see who gets the jump. Away we go. It's Larkham. Gets another brilliant start.
Look at Scape.
That's what he did yesterday, but Scape slotted in. Here comes Longhurst and Bargwanna. This first corner is going to be very interesting. So they come on down. Stephen Johnson looks for the inside run. Let's hope they get through. Scape's into second. And Bargwanna touch. And Alan Jones.
Yeah, looks like Jones couldn't. He tried to turn into the corner. There was a bit of hustle behind him. He had to go straight down the escape rope and watching the officials to see if they want to ping him too. But the field relatively cleanly through that first difficult chicane and up toward A&A for the first time.
You see Alan Jones give John Faulkner a bit of hip and shoulder there as he finally got back on track, but Scape's in second. Bright, Bargwanna,
Perkins
getting all out of shape in the Castrol Cougars car. Stephen Johnson is slotted in behind him. Then we go back to Paul Romano.
Well, they all got through the first corner cleanly this time, so we haven't lost any cars. As you said,
Tanner giving Crompton a touch-up.
Tanner giving Crompton a touch-up. I think Tanner should be a bit careful. He had caused that accident yesterday, and better be watching himself today that he doesn't get in too much more trouble. There's Russell Engel. Russell Engel, he's making his way through.
Well, Crompton made a good start too. He was up to 12th there as they came out of Bartercard, turned down the Esplanade for the first time, so Crompton on a real charge.
Tanner and Engel fighting it out here, side by side. They've gone through this, the last turn side by side, going into the chicane this time. This is going to be close.
Here, wouldn't you, on the inside line? Got him.
Outbreaks him. Nice move. There's Wayne Gardner in front of this bunch.
Well, now the next one to get through here is Neil Crompton. These are the three guys. Well, Crompton wasn't tangled up in it, but Engel certainly was, and Garth Tanner was caught up in it, the 21-year-old.
Out of Conrad Jupiter's turn, down toward the S's that lead through to the Honda hairpin and onto the pit straight for the first time.
Mark Larkham doing a super job out front. He's got a few car links over Mark Scape. Got a great start again.
Well, that's good to see Scape finally getting a quick start, because he suffered this year, and it's been very frustrating for him. He's been quite annoyed with himself, but he finally put one together, got the jump. Keep in mind, he started from 12th in yesterday's race, worked his way up into third. Now he's running second. There's Perkins in the Cougars car, saving the VT for Bathurst.
That's a great speed shot too there as they sweep down the pit straight toward the S's for the first time. Plenty of speed aboard the V8 Supercars as they thread their way through this concrete canyon. 1,350 kilograms of motor car, about 600 horsepower. A very difficult job, Greg Murphy.
Yeah, it is very difficult, and obviously using these curves, as you can see, these cars take a real punishing around here. A lot of hard braking from high speeds, long hard braking. The brakes take an absolute punishing, and you've got to concentrate 100%. It's a real concentration circuit. You sort of lapse ever so slightly, and you find yourself missing an apex or overshooting a corner.
First time across the line, it was 1.3 seconds, the gap between Mark Scape and his pursuit and the leader, Mark Larkham.
Further back, Neil Crompton having a go back there.
Tony Longhurst in the Castrol Ford, well placed. A little bit of work to do to catch up to these front runners, though. There he is. Bargwanna's in front of him. So Tony's sitting fifth at the moment. There's a good battle further back between Perkins Jones and Stephen Johnson, who I thought may have been a little bit higher, but he is running in the spare car, Dick Johnson's #1 car, left back at the factory, saving that one for the FII 1000 as well.
Tony Longhurst very fast in practice here. He's running in the battle for 4th position. Tremendous mix of cars up and down through the field. The order now, Larkham holding a 1.3 second gap over Scape. Bright, Bargwanna in 4th. Longhurst in 5th position. Then it's back to Perkins on screen. Jones, Stephen Johnson in the 17 Ford. Paul Romano and John Faulkner in the better electrical car. He's up in the top 10.
Well, Larry's driving the Castrol Cougars car. He said yesterday, I might be driving the girls' car, but you won't be seeing me in a dress. Had a bit of a giggle at that, but we will see Karen Brewer and Melinda Price back in that car. Here's an earlier incident with John Briggs.
Steve Reed had a problem in that corner yesterday as well, so he's really not having a good time here this weekend.
Well, he received another shot penalty yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and that's John Briggs getting a hit from him this time, ripping the front spoiler off. So he'll be making a trip to the pits if he can make it back round. But look at Mark Larkham. He's pulled a lead. It's another great start. His opening lap was a Craig Lowndes style first lap, blitzed away from the field. Mark Scaife in hot pursuit now. Scaife will be obviously probably just looking at it, assessing the situation. He won't want to go too hard too early. There's still about 12 laps to go, and so he's got to sort of look at it and say, well, I'll hold back a bit and see what happens.
Longhurst still running in fifth from Perkins, Jones and Steve Johnson, Faulkner, Romano, Ingle. Crompton hasn't been able to get past Tander as yet. And there he is back behind his old teammate Wayne Gardner.
Larkham is the fastest man on the circuit too. A 1:55.04 for his first flying lap. The gap still 1.3 seconds back to Mark Scaife with Jason Bright hanging in his mirrors. The first of the Valvoline Commodores.
Neil Crompton outside of Wayne Gardner. And gets it too. Nice
outside move. Yeah, good work.
Overtaking the former boss.
You were saying yesterday the brakes on the Ford Credit Falcon were superb, absolutely fantastic, and obviously that was an out-braking manoeuvre down the outside, so the brakes are working exceptionally well.
Crompton up to 14th position. He was up to 12th, but there was a bit of a collision between himself and Tander in that first lap around. That may have cost him a bit of time, but we're on board with Neil Crompton as he tries to pick his way through the field from the back.
Got a long way to catch up, hasn't he? But he's doing well. Just got Gardner. So that puts him into 13th position. The next one on the menu is Garth Tander. You can see him just up through the next corner in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore. Tander is tangling at the moment with Ingle and Romano.
Yeah, he'll be hoping for a bit of a battle there to slow these guys up so he can catch up onto the tail of them. And that looks to be happening. The guys in front, a real big battle. You can see Neil really trying hard, locking a brake.
Well, there's no doubt this car, the Ford Credit Falcon, was the fastest car on the circuit yesterday. He set a new lap record of 1:54. So he was very, very fast until that watch linkage broke.
This is on board with Ingle.
Romano.
Paul Romano. Oh, contact there!
Oh,
contact between Romano and Ingle.
Wow. And capitalising on that. Look at the damage to Ingle's car now. He's hit the back of Romano's Commodore. There's smoke, there's damaged bodywork. Ingle has really hurt himself.
There's a lot of damage on the front of his car. The nose of that Castrol Holden is all caved in. And he's going to watch that tyre, because if it keeps rubbing as bad as it looks like it is now, he's going to find himself in a bit of trouble.
He's got those enforcer eyes on again, hasn't he?
He will not be happy with that.
Didn't like getting the contact with Romano. They hit again. Romano went into the wall.
He was down the inside of Romano. Romano's turned in and hit the back of Russell's car, which has sent him straight ahead.
Now let's see if this tyre keeps rubbing. We've seen this a number of times. Oh, yeah.
It still is, but it's not too bad. And that rubber that it is wearing on will wear away. He'll have to be pretty careful to keep a good feel of that tyre and make sure it doesn't go flat.
I know that yesterday he wasn't very happy about the first corner incident when Garth Tander came barging on in. Here's a replay of this incident. Up the inside.
Oh, Russell, no. Actually, sorry, Paul Romano. That's right. Sorry, Paul Romano. That actually wasn't his fault at all. And Russell was just going very quick.
Now watch here. Valvoline Commodore takes advantage. Now Ingle, crash, bang.
Into the back of Romano there.
So that's done the damage to the front of Russell's car. Let's have a look at that on the Honda replay from another angle.
No contact at all there, actually. Russell's just gone in very, very deep.
So it was Garth Tander.
Winner, wasn't he? Yeah. Straight through up the inside.
I'll just duck up the inside. Let's have a look at that from another angle. No, well, you can see plenty of damage to the Castrol Commodore. Looks like he may be able to keep going. Let's hope the engine doesn't overheat if the cooling ducts of that engine have been damaged or blocked in some way.
Here's the battle for 7th and 8th between Alan Jones and the Komatsu Ford. Now, Alan goes very well here on the Gold Coast. Last year he finished 3rd in the opening race. That was the one that you won, Murph. And he's also picked up another podium finish in early years. I think it was in the first year back in '94. So he likes racing here on his home circuit, but he hasn't been able to bridge the gap between himself and Larry Perkins in the Castrol Cougars car.
The two Longhurst Falcons doing a super job this weekend, obviously working extremely well on their Dunlop tyres around here. And John Faulkner there. Oh, no, Romano.
Wow.
That's a big crash.
You saw him get tapped once. That was the damage on the back, but he's really given the front a nose job. Look
and the rear end as well. The rear end's more damaged than what it was before.
Turn and turn twice. There is Paul Romano. He had a dreadful time at the Tickford 500 at Sandown, crashing big time on the main straight.
And there's a lot of water coming out of that car also.
See all that green coolant. They may have to put a red flag safety car is out on the circuit already.
It's actually just down in front of us, isn't it, on the start-finish straight. So
under yellow flag conditions pretty soon. The safety car on the track. And we may even see a red flag if they can't get this thing tidied up. The cars have got to drive across that coolant. It's very, very slippery. We'll watch with interest. Paul Romano, well, they'd be devastated. They're only a small team.
Well, that car was only just repaired from Sandown also,
yeah, exactly.
after a lot of extensive damage to it on the front end, and they've got another huge job ahead. Look at the skid marks there. He's come a long way down from there.
He's had 2 very high-speed crashes in his last 2 outings. Not yesterday, of course, but at Sandown and now here on the Gold Coast. Obviously, he's all right. He's on his feet and talking to the team. Here's a replay.
Something's broken in the rear of that car.
Well, there was no one else around him, was there?
There's no one else there.
From that shot, anyway.
Now, that may be from that little incident that he had when he hit the wall with Russell Engel. So I'd say something's broken. Yeah, absolutely. The rear axle's hanging out at the bottom of it, I think.
So he may have had a broken Watts linkage, maybe, what we saw in Crompton's car.
In the rear end of the diff there.
Thomas Mazira in the Denzatron VT Commodore, lucky not to come in contact with Romano there as he scooted through on the inside, but Paul's okay.
There's Barry Sheen on the spot. We're getting a word with Paul pretty soon, but he would be devastated. Barry Sheen?
Yeah, Paul, did something break on the car?
What happened, Barry, going down the main straight, I got a blowout on the back rear tyre and it just spun around, and I tried to correct it, and it just threw me into the wall. But basically, Russell tried to pass me under brakes and lost it a bit and went on the grass and then came back on the track to get behind me, and I got a tap from the back and it threw me into the wall. And I let a few pass, and I just said to my guys on the radio, just have a look. And on that particular lap, it blew out. So,
a bit scary.
Yeah, especially after getting punted out last time, doing about 240.
All right, thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Well, poor old Paul Romano didn't need that in the lead up to Bathurst in November, but the team will work hard. There's a lot of damage to the front of that car. It certainly is an action-packed V8 supercar race. This is your McDonald's leaderboard. Larkham still leads away from Scaife, Bright, Bargwana and Tony Longhurst. They are your top 5. Perkins, Steve Johnson, John Faulkner, Ingle and Alan Jones. So something's happened there. Jones dropped back to 10th. Crompton still working his way forward. Tander back in 13th from Mazira and Briggs. More right after this on Network 10. Welcome back. You're watching the Hog's Breath Cafe V8 Supercar support race, and it's been action-packed right from the start. We've just witnessed Paul Romano having a very big incident, an accident on the main straight, under caution car, safety car situation now. That's brought the pack right up. Have a look at this, though, as we wind through the field. The second Castrol car, Russell Ingall, has already got up ahead there of Alan Jones. This is an earlier incident on the Honda replay. Garth Tander doing it all by himself. Going down, that looks like A&A corner, the last left-hander there.
So he let Neil Crompton and Russell Ingall through, who he's been dicing with for the last few laps.
So this is to bring you up to date. This is how it sits. Larkham. Then we go back to Scaife, Bright, Bargwana, Longhurst. They're your top 5. Then Perkins, Steve Johnson, John Faulkner as we go on board with Neil Crompton, who is currently sitting in 11th position. So,
well, I'll tell you what, the men you got to watch is Crompton and Russell Ingall. Now that the field's all bunched up, they're going to be going absolute gangbusters. Crompton there, visor up, just trying to get as much cooling air into the car. It must be so hot in those things, Greg.
Yeah, very hot. See the little camera on the side of his helmet, getting some great shots from that. But it is very hot, especially today, 30 degrees outside. The temperature inside the car will be anything from 40 to 50 degrees. So the guys will be got their cool suits on.
Well, Barry, this has been a ripper so far.
Oh, I tell you what, you should have been down here when Paul Romano's thing. It looks quick, but when you see it out of control and it's bouncing off the walls, it's ever so quick. I just spoke to Russell Ingall's engineer, and he said Russell said it's all burnt off where it's the body was touching the tyre. The main problem is he's got a lot of, it's bent the steering and it's towing out now, so any kind of luck, Crompton will get the best of him, won't he?
Well, yeah, it's brought it all nice and close together. Under safety car conditions at the moment, they're now, I think they've completed 7 laps. This is a 19-lap race. No word through from race control on whether this will be shortened or not. So, and no word as to whether when we're under race conditions again. But here is the man of the moment, Mark Larkham in the Mitre 10 Ford.
Just warming up the tyres side to side, just trying to keep some heat in those Bridgestones while they're behind the safety car. These tyres really lose temperature as soon as you slow off, so you want to retain as much as he possibly can So when he arrives at the first corner after the safety car pulls off, he's got as much grip as he had when he was racing earlier.
Shell Helix in-car camera there. Larko hard at work. Now, we're just through 16 laps. So usually when these things happen, we do get a reduced race. So it's gone from 19 back to 16 laps. Now, apparently the tow hook was broken off this car, Romano's Commodore. That's why they're having some troubles removing the Siemens Mobile Commodore.
Oh, boy. That thing's had more hits than Elvis, hasn't it? I think how old it is. In 1994, that's Tony Longhurst's original VP Commodore, converted to VR then VS specification. It's done a lot of race miles, and boy, it's had a few hits.
They work very hard, though, as you pointed out before, and rightly so. They're only a very small team, headed by Paul's father, Bap, former racing car champ himself. It's a tough weekend for them, Barry.
It is, and I think the reason for the delay, it's one thing getting Paul's car back on, but back behind me here, there's loads and loads of little bits and pieces of, you know, car, bits of fiberglass and steel and that. And even right out in front of me here, there's a load of stuff on the track that the guys are trying to sweep up. When I say a load of stuff, it's glass and everything. So it's no sort of 2-minute job to clean the whole thing up. And more especially, I suppose, when the Indy cars come out, they'll have to have another go at it because there's a lot of glass around.
Well, you just stay behind that safety fence, old mate.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm in good hands down there.
So, cars weaving backwards and forwards, believe it or not. Still trying to keep temperature in the tyres. And I guess, Greg, even though it's a hot day and the track temperatures are so high, they still have to do that because the critical temperatures do drop a few degrees.
Well, they do. And these things, tyres cool down. Here's Tony Longhurst with his arm out the window trying to get a bit of air in there. Tony's obviously, he's one of the fittest guys out there, and he's still feeling the heat. So you do have to still retain that optimum operating temperature in the tyres. As I said, you don't want to arrive at the first turn and realise that they're 20 or 30 degrees cooler than what you'd want and go in a bit deep and lock them up. So just trying to retain that heat, and it doesn't hurt them. And sounds like we are going to go green next time round. The pace car will pull off. They've cleared up the circuit.
Have a look at that. No wonder the champ car guys love coming down here. It's just the most picturesque circuit. They talk about Long Beach in California, but this one leaves that for dead. The word just through, we will go green when they come around onto the top of the circuit again. This looks like we're on board with Neil Crompton. Yes, indeed it is. And Crompton sits 11th at the moment behind Alan Jones, and Ingle just in front of Jones.
This is going to be great when this goes to green.
Pace car lights are off, so definitely pulling in this time.
You back your teammate, Scope?
He's going to be good on the restart, but Larkham so far has proven to be great at the starts, and the pressure's obviously not getting to him one single bit, so he's looking good.
There's Russell Ingle just behind John Faulkner.
Now, you're not allowed to pass any car until you've got to the start-finish line.
Look at Scape right up on Larkham.
Larkham can control this because Scape cannot go past him. He's hitting him. He's even hitting him.
8 laps to go.
No, he's backed off. He's backed off. And now Mark Scape's just passed Mark Larkham.
Oh, now what happens here?
Now he should get a stop-time penalty, and Bright's coming in. So Scape's made a big error there, and these guys behind.
Watch Russell Ingle. He's just behind that pack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's up to 7.
He's just passed one underneath too. He's gone.
Look, he's looking for the big inside line. He's trying to squeeze his way.
John Faulkner.
Good work.
Oh, John Faulkner, I reckon, went across the inside of the corner there.
Crompton's right in behind him too, so we'll see if the Ford Credit Falcon and the Castrol Holden run together as they sweep out of the S's.
Russell Ingle! Exactly the same as
last year.
Crompton caught up in there too. Boy, Thomas Mazura's heart would have missed a beat. That's his Bathurst car.
No, it's okay. His car's not badly damaged. Russell Ingles is totaled.
That's exactly where Seaton went off last year.
And how freaky is this? Crompton was right behind him, and the car Crompton was driving was the one Seaton crashed there.
And look at John Faulkner's car too. Alan Jones, John Faulkner, all totally.
Dear, oh dear.
And Neil Crompton's car as well.
He's getting out of there.
Well, this is a big disaster in the lead up to Bathurst, but I guess you could say it's fortunate some of these cars are spare cars. Russell Ingle is out of his car now. His car isn't one that's being raced at the FII 1000.
We've got a red flag too, and I'd say that'll be the end of this race.
That'll be over. That's going to take a long time to clean up. There's Crompton in the spare car. Just imagine the disappointment.
He's got to be wondering what is going on this weekend. The kids are having a look inside, so too are the officials, but Neil won't be in much of a talking mood. Neil will Russell Ingle. Well, Neil, Lee Diffie here. Can you hear us? No.
We just heard him talking to his crew, but see by the way he's pulling his gloves off there. Alan Jones.
Jones's car is extensively damaged. You can see the way the wheel's sticking out in the back. He's had a big hit. He's gone in after Russell Ingall. I think Neil Crompton's gone up the back of him. So
Well, Ingall's okay. That was straight in.
Yeah,
Oh, look at the damage.
Very, very sad. Now, that's fortunate as well, as we're just saying. That's not his Bathurst car, but that's the risk you take when you're running only 3 or 4 weeks before the biggest race in the year.
Glenn Seaton there with the headsets on, walking back. Let's have a look at this on the replay.
He's got something's happened there.
Yeah.
He's broken something. He's gone straight
Just
ahead.
went straight in.
John
Bang!
Faulkner's just run straight up the back.
There is no room for error around that part of the track.
Exactly the same
And look
spot.
at Thomas Mazier in the Densatron Commodore. He just backs it in.
Luckily
gets
not
away
to
with
do anything too bad.
I think he just had a little bit of damage to his rear bumper, but he's very, very lucky, man.
Here we go in car. This with
with
me.
Crompton.
Now, Ingall in front's gone in. There's Alan Jones.
Ah!
Oh!
Bang!
Get out of it.
Behind this, Wayne Gardner escaped scratch-free.
Well, they talk about the domino effect in those crashes, and that's the best description. It's just one after the
Here
other.
we go
Bang,
again.
bang,
Russell
bang,
Ingall.
bang, bang.
Russell Ingall here. He's got a problem. He's gone straight ahead. Poor old John Faulkner, nowhere to
2,
go.
3,
Maybe that
4.
tyre blew.
Yeah, mate. No, it was the
Right-hand
other
tyre,
side, I
it
think.
was.
So,
Look at that.
Neil Crompton's car is not too badly damaged, so I think he's got away okay. John Faulkner, that's his Bathurst
Now,
car.
that is his FAI 1000 car, and he has got a lot of work to do.
Well, I remember how devastated he was after he got turned around at Hidden Valley and did all that damage to the other end of the car. Now they fixed it, the front end's copped it. Boy, it's hard on these teams.
Well, he's got some good people behind him with Fisher and Paykel and
he's got
Better
a lot of-
Electrical, but he said they've had that much bad luck this year. He said, we cannot afford to have another big one, and well, he's just been in a pretty serious one there.
He's got a lot of his sponsors here this weekend too, over on the back chicane, and they would have been watching with interest, but they wouldn't want to see that.
Now, the checkered flag has come out, checkered flag and red in combination, so that is the end of the Hog's Breath V8 Supercar race as they try and clean up this circuit for the
Look at that
Champ Car race this afternoon. Now, the word just through, the results are declared as we have a look at the real-time replay.
Oh,
Bang, bang, bang.
exactly the same as last
It's
year.
going to be the hoodoo corner for the V8,
I'll tell you
Sunday.
what.
Thomas Mazier did a sensational job avoiding that. Look at this.
Yeah, Neil Crompton's car's not too badly damaged, thank goodness, so they get away with that one, but
Dear, oh dear.
that one's not happy.
He's got a lot of work to do. Sorry, just mentioned the word through from race control results on declared results after lap 8. Let's take a look at them now, but there's Mark Larkin. Well done to him because he has got the double header, the same as Rodney Forbes in the GTP. 2 starts, 2 wins. Scape in for the second from Bargwanna, Longhurst and Larry Perkins. Steve Johnson finished 6th overall. John Faulkner, although his car's damaged, in there for 7th. From Ingall, Alan Jones and Neil Crompton rounding out the top 10 on the McDonald's scoreboard. Gardner, Tandem, Azura, Briggs and Heffernan. Well, the action's any indication there this afternoon is going to be red hot. More on your home of motorsport right after this.